Hello and welcome to episode 2 of our Timberborn Update 6 Wonders of Water Iron Teeth playthrough here. Cycle 3, Day 1. Once again, back at it. Want to let you guys know that this video and the first 5 episodes of this series have been generously sponsored by Mechanistry, the developers of Timberborn. So thank you, Mechanistry, for supporting the channel and sponsoring this video. You can find information on the game with links in the description and the pinned comment. So let's go ahead and get right back into it and take a look at more of the cool stuff we can do in Update 6's full release here, which you guys asked, and I've gone ahead and I've decided I'm going to start adding mods in based on what you guys want to see. We have ladders up today. Of course, I can't, build it yet because I don't have the science, but the ladders mod is available in Update 6. And you guys asked for it, so we're definitely going to be using these as soon as we can. But what's really cool about this is now just directly integrated in the game. You don't have to do any fancy file management or anything. You can just go out to the main menu, click on mods, and then you can browse the Steam Workshop from right within the game. Just reload. Assuming the mods are compatible with the current version you're running, then everything is good to go. So that's cool. I'm really glad that that's finally available in the main game, and I don't have to sort through a whole bunch of file directories and troubleshoot with different versions and everything. It just works. So we'll go ahead and move right on here. Another thing you guys asked for in the comments is to take a look at the little beaver breeding pods here. I told you it was nightmare fuel, and your wish is my command. So yeah, take a look at these guys, just like chilling in here. Real like wrinkly looking dudes. It's just a little weird. But yeah, it's all good fun. All good fun. I appreciate you guys bantering in the comments about all this fun stuff. I do always read all of them, so feel free. Anything that you have, questions, comments, concerns, ideas, whatever, always put them down in the comments. I always read them. I can't always respond to everybody, but I do try to get to as many as I can, especially in these early videos in series. So today, like I said before, this first 5 videos of the series, we're going to try and do absolutely as much as possible, get through all the cool stuff that is in Update 6. And while we did get a really good start last time, there is still plenty more to get to, and I think we're going to have a really, really good time getting into a lot more of this stuff today, especially now that we have ladders. Because without those, you'd have to have a whole bunch of platforms and stairs and go up this entire, perimeter of the thing trying to get up to higher altitudes. But no, all we got to do, once I have the science, of course, is just, right up here. So we're actually going to be able to get to metal, not too long after we can get stuff unlocked here. Of course, ladders are going to require the planks to get built, which is going to require us to turn these things back on, which is why we have 4 of these breeding pods. You got to have a whole lot of beavers to get everything done here, so we'll go ahead and keep on going with that. Right now, we don't have enough extra beavers to turn these back on, but we're going to have a fermenter at the very least, so we'll get that turned on. As a reminder, we do have the inventors set to minimum priority, so we did, I guess, kind of have beavers in reserve, so to speak. We'll get in here, start fermenting some cassavas, and then start thinking about next steps for our beaver feeding needs. We, of course, have the oil press to work with once we get into soybeans, so we can process those guys because, of course, those require soybean and canola oil to get mixed together. But that's a really good recipe because you can take 6 of these guys and you get 20 fermented soybeans. That's huge. Whereas the cassava, it more than doubles what you have. But this more than triples what you have. And the mushrooms are even better, but, it's going to be a little while before we get to there. That quadruples what you have, growing in your hydroponic gardens. But that's still a little ways away. We'll see what we can get to. For right now, main goals for today should be to start ramping up industrial production, get these gears going, so we can have our medium tanks and everything else that requires gears. So we'll go ahead and get into triple speed mode here. And I'm going to go ahead, since we have a full wood storage, I'm going to turn the lumber mill back on, which is going to employ a couple more beavers here. We're going to have a couple vacancies show up. We're going to go ahead and build a pile for the planks to be stored in because, well, we're going to need them. So that's going to be a worthwhile thing to do. Up here we have storage for berries, which are still growing, kohlrabis, which we're still growing, and then right here are fermented cassavas. which is a continual process. And probably, if we're being honest with ourselves, we're going to have to build another fermenter. But we have quite a lot of other stuff that we probably should be taking care of first. You know, because our food situation right now is honestly pretty good for where we are in the game. We just have to make sure that we're actually able to do what we are supposed to do. So I'm going to open up this gear workshop again. We do have 2 beavers here in the hauling post. And since we're not actually building anything, I'm going to deprioritize our district center so we can get beavers actually working in the lumber mill and the gear workshop so we can start everything the way it needs to be. Medium tank, we have 135 science. I'm going to go ahead and unlock this guy first. And like I said before, we'll put a tank right here. Make sure we set this to have water in it. And that is going to really, really help us out. Because remember, this is not a big map. It's only 50 by 100. So anytime we can have good storage density, we need to be sure that we do that. So, of course, this stores 300 water in a footprint of only 4. Versus 4 of these guys would only store 120. Plus, you have to have paths to connect everything together. So definitely medium's the way to go. And, of course, once we have the metal to do the large ones, then that's going to be even better because that's 1,200 in 9 squares. But that requires 30 metal, which we do not currently have, and probably won't for a pretty decent amount of time. Now, taking a look at other stuff you guys mentioned in the comments, the barracks right here are probably okay for now, but as we move toward growing more stuff, we need to make sure that we relocate the population to areas that are not arable, which this entire spot over here, perfect place to do that, because we don't have anything grown over here, and we won't until we can irrigate this place, which, with the changes that were made in updates 5 and 6, now is going to require, to do it correctly and nicely at least, is going to require blowing up the land and making a little bit of a reservoir here. And of course, to make the dynamite, we have to come over here into the landscaping tab, and we've got the explosives factory, which requires power and 400 science and 30 metal and 30 gears. So suffice to say, we're not that close to that yet, but we will be at some point soon. Hopefully before the end of these first 5 episodes. You know, I like to avoid editing as much as I can. We might time-lapse here and there, but I want to always show you, no matter what we're doing, the whole process of getting there, instead of just saying, okay, well, let's do this, and then, you know, edit out 8 hours of gameplay, which, hey, if you want to do that, that's fine, but it's not the way I like to play. And you guys who watch the videos seem to prefer this too, so it works out very, very well for everybody involved, just to keep on doing what we've always done. Now, we're waiting on 11 more gears here for this medium tank, and that's going to get us going quite nicely. For the purposes of what our forester is doing, of course, nobody's working here yet, but we're probably going to want to go ahead and plant some more oak trees. So I will bring those in here. I know this area is currently contaminated, but it's not always going to be that way. So I will go ahead and mark... Wait, that wasn't supposed to be... Oh, there we go. I'm going to go ahead and get this marked for planting. I will bring a beaver in here. Maybe not. Well, it's also the middle of the night, so they're probably working on sleeping instead of building things. But we'll get a beaver in here, plant these trees, and then get that removed. I did connect this path down here, so now they can actually get down here and take these blueberries as well as the rest of these oak trees, should we need them. But for right now, we're not really in a position where that's going to be a problem for at least a little bit of time. But it's nice to have the options there. Yeah, 12 gears. Still going here, 3 hours per gear, so it's going to be like another day before that's done. But with what we have access to power-wise, this is about as good as we're going to get. Probably is going to be in our best interest to go ahead and build another water wheel here. In fact, I have the space, if I can click correctly, I have the space to put 2 more of these in. And we certainly have the wood, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And now, once that's taken care of, after, you know, everything else is all done, then we're going to be good to go. I realize now that I had the forester paused. But, That'll end up getting solved sooner rather than later. So food-wise, we're actually keeping up pretty well. Probably wouldn't hurt to have more storage for kohlrabies, but again, we have 20 beavers. Our food situation is more than fine, more than great for where we currently are in the playthrough. In fact, this is probably extreme overkill for the quantity of food we actually need, but like I said in the first episode, this is definitely something you want to get ahead of rather than wait to play catch-up, because if you're playing catch-up, then you might have a beaver famine on your hands, and, well, nobody wants that. So instead, I'd like to focus on getting some more beavers up here. We do have 4 kits. We've got more coming soon. We got these 2 within the next, hopefully within the next day or so, those will come out, and then we'll get some more jobs available here. Everything right now is just about, you know, doing whatever you can, wherever you can do it. And that is just the way it goes. So these are supposed to be pine trees, but seeing how things are looking now, I am going to unplant pretty much all of these, and I'm going to replant, not all the way out here, I'm going to replant this corner as oaks. Because these are already, yeah, 2/3 of the way through, some of them. And they'll give us 8 each. It'll slow down the, I guess, the takeover of land for materials acquisition purposes, and free up a little bit of space, what little space we do have access to down here, for industrial purposes. And that's always what we are going to want early game. We're almost caught up with our power demands here. With our compact water wheels, we'll have the 4th one done, hopefully in short order, and that'll allow these to run at full tilt at all times. And we actually have some homeless beavers, which I don't have the science to unlock the large barracks yet, nor will we for a while, but what I'm going to go ahead and do is put one here and one here. Just go ahead and get those built, because we do have the capacity to do that. And yeah, we'll just start migrating these guys over here. The reason I've built this like this is because when we go to build the large barracks, it's a 3x3, so I can just drop it in this exact same spot. Combine those 2 words. There you go. Get a discount on your language right there. That's just going to end up being a better thing for everybody involved. Again, for right now, I don't think we really need to get rid of these, but the way this is shaping up, I think we're going to want to start moving anyway, so I can plant all of these oak trees as best as we can here. Remember that pines are going to be necessary for our pine resin, but it's only 19 days to get resin from absolutely nothing if you have to plant the trees, and we're nowhere close to that at this point in time. If we can find a way to get explosives and irrigation and stuff set up a whole lot better sometime soon, then yeah, we'll plant some pines and we'll have a small grove to collect those, but I can't even make the tapper shack yet, so we're just really not going to be worried about that in the slightest. Now, it is cycle 3, so in theory, pretty soon it's going to be possible for us to get a bad tide, and when that happens, it will kill all of our crops. It may kill some of the trees, and there's not really a way to stop that until you have the impermeable irrigation barriers and impermeable floors and all sorts of stuff. You can start rerouting your bad water. But for now, what we have is what we have, and that's just what we're working with. So, like I said, this is another thing that's going to require pine resin. We're so far away from that at this point, it's just not worth worrying about. Which is part of the reason why we want to have big storage, well, for where we are right now, big storage of food and water. So this is going to help us there. Remember, 1 beaver consumes 2 food and 2 water per day on normal difficulty. We currently have 24, so that's 48 per day per beaver of each. Water is not really in a great spot right now. We're okay. For the length of droughts we're going to have access to right now, we're doing okay. But we could be better. Both of these guys are working. I'm going to not have this deprioritized anymore. I mean, he's still in here, so it's fine. But we want to make sure we're keeping ourselves in the correct frame of mind to not enable problems as a result of water pumps being left unattended. And while I do not have access to the large warehouses yet, we should still keep building these medium ones just so we have enough storage to be in a safe position. So I am going to go ahead, put another warehouse here, and our best available food is fermented cassava, so I'm going to have another one of those there. And then probably, remember, we can always tear this down later. It's not a big deal. Probably go ahead and have another one for kohlrabies as well, just because we might as well have access to all that stuff as best as we can. Put another medium warehouse here. Probably for berries, because again, we do have some that we can gather, and it never hurts to have them in storage. We're not in the spot now yet where space on the map is going to be a huge deal. Would much rather be massively over-prepared and not need it than the alternative. So while they're taking care of that, we did get a comment. Somebody said that the farmhouses for the Iron Teeth are almost always best when placed in pairs, which is true because they are only employing 2 beavers versus 3 for the folktales. And we do have 2. Right now, these are able to keep up with all of the demand that we have. It won't be the case forever, so the next time we go to expander farming, we're going to have to think about where we want to place those and maybe consider putting it down too. Other stuff in the comments, people have been asking about integrating more decorations, specifically lanterns, because these light up paths quite nicely. And we have another drought coming in. We're not in a position right now to spend the science on the decorative stuff, but I want you guys to hold me to it. I want to continue as we go through this series. I want to place a little bit more of an emphasis on making stuff look nice, because when you play Iron Teeth, it's very, very easy to get caught up in the whole efficiency thing, and I tend to ignore aesthetics for the most part, but it doesn't have to be that way. So keep me honest in the comments about that, and as we get to the point where we're able to do that, I would like to start doing more of that. So you see how good of an idea it was to build more storage? Because immediately the kohlrabi storage just surges, fermented cassava storage surges. Berries, well, it's going to take a little bit longer, but we will get those. And now we have a drought coming in about 2 days. Water is, you know, I would like for this to be a little bit more storage in here. So we're going to have to build more pumps. We're not really in a position at this exact time to do too much more than this, but I would like to go ahead and just put one more pump in here. Yep, kohlrabi berry storage all ready to go. Probably should go ahead and put another tank in here. We also need storage for the gears. That's something that I did not do. Medium warehouses for right now are pretty big in terms of storage for gears, but I think it's going to be good in the long run to just have it and not need it, rather than need it and not have it. So this isn't irrigable land yet, so I will put a gear storage there. We don't want to let them turn everything into gears, and also, the keen-eyed among you might notice, we're out of logs. But don't worry, because these guys, within the next couple of days, are going to grant us plenty of wood, and everything should be fine. But for right now, we do need a place to actually store gears, and we have 172 planks. So we can definitely turn some of them into gears. Maybe for right now, pause the industrial lumber mill, and hopefully we're in a better spot because of that. As a reminder, the drought will render our compact water wheels completely useless because there will be no water flowing. So I am going to let them go ahead and make some gears now, just so we have them in case we need to, say, build another water storage. Well, we're going to want to anyway. But there's a bunch of other stuff that we can get to as well, especially once we unlock ladders and make our way up to the top here to grab some scrap metal, because that process, well, first of all, we have to have plenty of science to get to it. Smelters aren't that far away. Depending on if we can get beavers to, you know, spend enough time in the inventors, we might even be able to get to scrap metal today. That would be, I think, a huge boon for us at the end of episode 2 to have access to metal, because that opens up the floodgates when it comes to building stuff and taking advantage of all the new structures here, like these overhangs, and especially the impermeable floors. But here we are in the drought. It is a 5-day drought, which, let's hit pause real quick, take stock of our situation. We have 27 beavers. Let's just round up to 30, make it easier on ourselves. That's about 60 water per day, about 60 food per day. 60 times 5 is 300. We have 315 water. We're not using water for anything else except the breeding pods. But 5 days, we're going to be perfectly fine with what we already have. Plus, there's some here that can continue to be pumped out. I probably won't. I'm probably going to pause these pumps, at least for a little bit, because I would like to try to keep these crops alive. I know we can't do any more fermented cassava because this fermenter is functionally useless now, as is the gear workshop, so we'll pause that. And as a result, we're going to have 4 beavers that have nothing to do. So what that's going to give us the opportunity to do is, as we acquire more of these logs, while the oak trees come in and get harvested. Okay, these are definitely going to die like ASAP, but I guess that's fine. I'm going to build another inventor, put that right here, so they can do what they've got to do. Of course, the kohlrabies we can still pick up out of the ground, stick them in storage, but it's pretty much full. Each of these farmhouses can hold 50, though, so they will be able to hold on to a little bit of that. Harvest the mature cassavas as well, which I do not have a storage for, and I probably should before we get too far. But right now, I don't have the materials to build it, so we're just going to leave it alone as it is. This lumberjack flag doesn't really need to be here. It's not really hurting anything. But if we're going to have another lumberjack flag, it would be much better served not in this exact location, but in a place closer to all of these trees. Because this guy right here can handle all of this, with the exception of this bit up here. And if I were to put a guy here, then he could handle all of this, plus whatever else we're going to plant in the future, and a little bit down here. So this isn't the perfect place to put another guy. This isn't really any better because he can't reach up here. So I think, all that being said, this will still work okay, but the trees aren't really growing fast enough yet for this to really be much of an issue. We'll just keep on doing whatever we can do here. And when everything comes back after the drought, the bad water will come in here first and threaten to kill some of these blueberries. It might actually kill some of the blueberries, but in the long run, I think we're going to be okay, especially as we continue moving forward toward cleaning stuff up. Since that one's dead, we can go ahead and put a path there. Eventual goal, getting all the way around here. And I think these oak trees are a little bit more resilient than we're willing to give them credit for. So I'm going to start planting some more oak trees down here, just in the space that we already have. I'll leave this open for berries. But hey, look at this. We got 7 of these now ready to go. And all we got to do is get a couple more over here in this inventor. They'll start doing that. And then if we can get enough science, we're going to be in really, really good shape to start building ladders and get ourselves up on out of here and up to the top of the hill, where, of course, there are more trees for us to harvest and take advantage of all this other fun stuff. There's so much cool stuff on this map. For how small it is and how relatively simple the design is, there's a lot of cool stuff. Like, since we're on the topic of discussion here, these natural overhangs line up perfectly to get this straight off the edge of the map. All we have to do is connect these. So I'm not entirely sure what the best way to do that would be. I know we can demolish them if we want, and we do have the option to come in here with these 6x1 overhangs and just kind of build up off of it. You could also use the shorter ones. The 4x1s would probably do the job of connecting these two here. But just stuff to think about as we continue moving around and taking advantage of all the fun new stuff we can get to. But as soon as we get... you know what I didn't do? You know what I didn't do? I didn't mark these for cutting. Always mark your new trees for cutting, friends. Always do it, because you're going to forget. And then you'll be like me wondering, why aren't they, why aren't they getting these? They definitely could be. But now they are. Can this guy reach? Ah, okay, can't reach quite all the way over here. That's fine. We'll get everything taken care of. We've got 1.2 days left. Remember how I said I wasn't going to have these still pump? Well, now now there's not very much water in here anyway. So, got a little bit excited there. We'll go ahead and pause these water pumps so nothing else can get pumped out. The crops won't die immediately if they're not watered, but, eventually they will, like these cassavas did. But it's not that big of a deal. We still have plenty of food. We just want to make sure we try not to get ourselves in this kind of a situation if we can at all help it. But for right now, we're doing okay. I have 13 empty beds. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to remove this barracks, remove this path, and this isn't watered now, but a couple of these could conceivably fit a tree in. So if I have the means to do this. I'm going to go ahead and move. I guess this one barracks is probably fine up here. If I can find a decent way to pop it in here, because we do have this slope. I'm going to put one right here. Doesn't have to stay there forever, but it's nice to spread things out a little bit. This map isn't really big enough for that to matter, but I think it's going to be fine. Let's remove, we have the one empty bed. Let's remove this. The reason being, now I have space to plant some additional trees. I know our forester can't quite reach everywhere, but, if you can do a little, do a little. If you can do a lot, do a lot. Everything else will fall into place. Yeah, you can see right here, this nasty water is making its way over here and threatening to kill these trees. It probably will kill a few of them. In addition to these blueberries, this water is very, very low. And we already knew it was going to kill these, but there's not really much we can do about that until the water comes through. These are dying. That's dead. All right. Well, it happens. But hey, now we have the path going all the way through here, so that's cool. And the contamination is being repelled away from here. This bit was never going to last, but it's fine. Doing A-okay. Hey, guess what? We have 300 some science, which means we can research ladders. So, now all we've got to do is pick where we are going to put the ladders to go up here. And the way this is currently set up, probably is going to make the most sense for us to just kind of maybe move the hauling post somewhere else. So let's hit pause real quick. Think about our strategy. We don't want to let too much time slip through our fingers, because we are going to have a bad tide probably before the end of this episode, unless the RNG is simultaneously on my side by not giving me a bad tide and simultaneously not on my side, because that would be depriving you guys of something fun and potentially comedic when disaster occurs. I want to make sure the hauling post can go somewhere else that is going to be less in the way of what we're trying to do. So I'm going to end up, again, the location of this doesn't really matter that much. I'm going to try to avoid putting it in a spot that I could be growing something in, if at all possible. For right now, probably is going to make the most sense to just, I guess right about here. I'll just move that there. I will go ahead and delete this right now. But they will build this expeditiously. We have the materials, especially after I make it the top priority. We have the materials there. It's looking fine. I'm going to turn the fermenter back on, because while we do have 500 kohlrabis, we really should try to have as many fermented cassavas as possible. And we're going to want to be able to harness the power of all of our farmland here, right? So let's go back down to 2 beavers on the hauling post. And like I said, we need to start building ladders. So 4 of these guys right here shouldn't take too terribly long. I'll put another 4 right here, connect these with paths, and then we have space up here. We don't have the science yet, but by the time they build all these ladders, I am pretty sure we'll be able to have the scavenger unlocked. Now, I know it was a thing before where you could only build 2 ladders before they stop being able to build on top. But it seems like that's not a thing anymore. They can just go straight up. So that looks fine by me. Makes it a whole lot easier for us to do what we got to do. Now, let's unpause the pumps. We do still have plenty of water, but there's no reason to have that turned off now. We have the extra beavers. We have 30 now, which is great to see, because now we're going to need to get in a little bit more of a situation where we can take full advantage of all of our food processing. Once I can research everything, of course. Hydroponic garden is going to require metal, so we're not quite there yet. Oil press should be the next logical step, but we are going to have to plant canola. And canola is a little bit of a pain because it takes so long to grow, and if it gets contaminated, then, well, sayonara. But I think it would be a mistake not to go ahead and plant some right now. Both farmhouses can reach this. I mean, you don't have to have any maintenance on this, you just have to have it growing. So getting this going as soon as possible, even if we don't need it yet, is going to be very, very important. So now I have the science necessary to unlock. Never mind, I thought this was 150, not 250. But we can get up here, which does mean that I've got an opportunity to get these birch trees out of here. We'll run a path all the way over here, and we'll mark all of these birches for cutting. We have this natural slope here that they can go down to get those. I don't know why that was the first one, probably because of how I had that ordered. But once we have that cleared, we're going to be able to pretty much go anywhere over here because we have stairs we can pop in. Currently, this is nice, clean water. It won't be forever. But we're going to want to make sure we don't build stairs down here during a bad tide because, well, I shouldn't have to tell you what happens there. Let's take the time now to unmark this area for tree cutting because there's no trees here. Just a good habit to find yourself in and take stock of where we are now. Almost. We're getting closer to having our scavenger flag unlocked. For the time being, just getting stuff grown, harvested, and processed should be priority number 1. And I'm going to turn the gear workshop back on. We still have plenty of planks, but we do want to start stockpiling gears, especially now that our water storage is getting pretty tall. Tall as in the bar is tall. Probably going to have to put another one of these in. I guess here, don't forget you can flip buildings with F. And that's not a new feature, but I've been playing long enough to appreciate this. Because back in the day, you couldn't do this. I say back in the day, it was like, what, 2 years ago? You had to have a mod to flip the buildings, and then it broke stuff because some buildings weren't supposed to be flipped. But we will go ahead and build another tank here, just to make sure we can have an adequate supply of water. And soon-ish, we can probably also get into bad water stuff. Although my first 250 science, I'm not going to use on a bad water pump. I'm definitely going to use on metal scavenging. One, because, you know, you have to have metal to have the bad water pump in the first place. But it's just really, really important to get access to some of this stuff as absolutely as early as you possibly can. That is just the way it goes. So I see 245, 246, 248. Do I see 250? There we go. All right, scavenger flag. For right now, well, you know what? These don't cost anything to build, and I have 5 beavers who are unemployed, so 2 scavenger flags. Those things go in the piles, so I will put... No, you know what? I'm going to build a large industrial pile. I'll just put that right there. We'll have that be for scrap metal. Get this going correctly here. And that does leave us some space over here to put in some other storages if we feel so inclined. For right now, probably should be focusing more on food than anything else. So, canola oil. Canola oil comes from canola seeds, which are currently growing. They're about a third of the way through. We're going to want to go ahead and plant some soybeans. I don't really have a lot of space to do that with. So I think what's going to happen is some of our kohlrabi space is going to need to be unplanted. I'm going to choose to make that inside away from the stream here because soybeans take 8 days to grow. Kohlrabis take 3. If I'm going to have something die from contamination, I really don't want it to be soybeans. And then, of course, you know, you have eggplant and corn that take even longer, but we're not there yet. We have to have a bunch of other buildings to get to that. So as these get picked up out of the ground, we're going to let these turn into soybeans. Again, it's not mission critical at this exact moment. We have 1,100 food for 30 beavers. We are looking great for where we are. So no issues there. I am going to go ahead, though, since we have space up here, I'm going to put a couple of these small piles for logs so Steven over here can, you know, actually get the rest of these taken down. And then we're going to have some space up here to build stuff if we so choose. Everything now is about just maximizing whatever we can do. Because everything is going to take some time here. We've got 690 water capacity, which is great. In terms of well-being, we might be able to start putting some of this stuff in, but again, we're not really in a fantastic position in terms of science yet. So for us to be able to take full advantage of what we're doing here, I'm going to have to basically just put a rooftop terrace up on top of this thing and then spend 100 science. Spend 100 science on a platform so I can actually get up above it. Or I could have, you know, just done this around the backside here, but eventually we're going to want to use this for other stuff. Oh, look at how inviting this is, but nobody can get to it. Just think about it. Think about it. And someday, when I actually have platforms available, we'll be able to get people up on top of here. Well, not people, beavers, but you get the idea. You get what I'm putting down here. Alright, so let's see. 90, 91. Soon we'll have that. We probably should go ahead and build some more inventors too. Just to give ourselves a fighting chance at having other stuff actually, you know, going here. So I will build those, make those minimum priority. Because there's no reason... I guess there's reasons, but there's no good reason to have unemployed beavers at this stage of the game. You only have so much. You might as well make use of every opportunity you have, right? Ooh, I made an ugly, but that's okay. We'll get it taken care of eventually. I want them to be able to go on this rooftop terrace. And then maybe, considering where we are with the rest of this stuff, probably go ahead and build a couple more inventors, since we have the ability to get up here. This land is otherwise not really usable. So deprioritize the workplaces once again. So day 9, day 10. It is possible that we can get a bad tide. So we probably should increase our water pumping. Again, employ more and more beavers. Get things rocking and rolling here. I want to see these storages nice and full. I'm going to build a couple more as well. By a couple more, I mean probably just one. And I will place this right here. I should go ahead and turn on the industrial lumber mill. And that actually gives us a net deficit of 1, but that's why we have the inventors to kind of soak up the labor, so to speak. And look how good we are now. The soybeans might possibly regret planting these right now, but, you know, if you just wait, then you're going to regret not having done it earlier. Just do what you can when you can, and that's pretty much all you can do. In a couple days, we'll have canola, which does mean that we have the opportunity to start using the oil press, which I have the science to unlock. That's going to require some storage. I also could hold out for 300 science and start building a smelter, but given that it's day 11, I don't think we're going to be able to actually use it until the next cycle anyway. So let's go ahead instead and get that oil press unlocked. Again, just for right now, until we have a better way to use our space, I will go ahead and put this here. Give our gear workshop something to do. Got more capacity, ready to go. for that. That's looking good. To start out with, it's not a bad thing to just have small tanks for your canola oil. But now we have the extra challenge of routing power between buildings now that this is set up the way it's set up. But don't worry, we have the room to go ahead and run around right like so. This is 1, 2, and 3 spaces. So if we were to put in a fermenter right next to this, it would block some stuff. But don't worry, because we can just come around like this instead and then put a fermenter here, and that's going to leave us a little bit of space here. Again, I know this isn't perfect, but it's what we have to work with right now, and that is just going to have to be good enough until we get somewhere else that we can work with. So I'm going to turn this into... might as well just go ahead and say fermented soybeans, because, well, this isn't operating anyway. But we're going to want to be prepared whenever these do eventually grow up. And it's not going to be soon, but we want to be prepared for whenever that does eventually happen. So now we have nothing left to cut up here until we can get up over there, so this lumberjack flag will go away. Metal-wise, we do have this scrap metal right here ready to go. I'll go ahead and build another scavenger flag just so we can keep everybody employed. And as we continue getting our science, we're going to think about, depending on if this is a bad tide or a drought. If it's a bad tide, then it's full steam ahead. It's everybody on deck, ready to go, making more stuff. And we can actually expand maybe a little bit over the river. Think about making good use of our space as much as we can. But that's going to require reconfiguring some of our mess over here. Always fun. So, canola is now here. The farmhouses will be able to get it, but we're going to want to make sure that we have storage for it, which, again, everything has to have some sort of storage somewhere, and there's not really any way around it. I'm just going to go ahead, for right now, and put a couple little canola storages right there. The oil press, once we have gears, will be finished, and then it can start pressing. Of course, if we have a drought, then, well, none of this is going to work because it doesn't work in a drought. But we do have the option of the large power wheel, which I had avoided building prior to now because it takes 100 logs. But as you can see, we have 230. We're actually pretty much maxed out. I need to probably build some more log storage. But this guy is going to make 300 HP, and it only requires 4 beavers to walk around in a miserable circle there. So we'll see what happens. But for right now, I see there's a need for more beaver housing, beaver storage, whatever you want to call it. So I will go ahead and build another barracks here, get these 6 out of the rain. Well, it doesn't rain in this game, but it's a figure of speech. Canola seeds. These guys are focusing more on planting. So this guy right now, I'm going to have him focus on harvesting, and he'll grab some of this stuff, put it in place. We're still waiting on 4 more gears for the oil press, so it's perfectly fine that this hasn't been harvested yet. I have the science. I told you we were probably going to do it. I have the science to make a smelter. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. We don't have all the materials yet, but I am going to unlock it because I think it's a really... I think it's just ridiculous that we're toward the end of episode 2 and we already have the ability to build a smelter. I've not really rushed metal like this before, so I think we can be pretty happy with how this has gone. But we have a drought coming in 3 days. So let's take a pause and consider our options here. It's possible we can get this built by the end of the drought. It's not going to be built by the beginning of the drought, that's for sure, because we don't have any gears. We're still waiting on gears, 3 of them, to build this oil press. 3 hours for 1 gear. We're already halfway through this a day, so we got another, realistically, on a 16-hour workday, which is the default. We're going to have this oil press built just in time to maybe press a tiny bit of canola into oil that we don't even really need to use anyway. But to get 20 gears to make one of these smelters, that's going to take a while. I would rather focus at least until the drought starts, I would rather focus on just letting these guys do what they've got to do. Go ahead and pause this because, you know, we don't need that. Not yet. But focus on letting these guys do what they need to do. Get our stock of materials up because, remember, we're not going to be able to make any planks during the drought. So it would really be nice to be able to turn, I don't know, maybe like 150 planks-ish. Now, is that going to happen before the beginning of the drought? Probably not, because, you know, it's every hour you make a plank and a third or a plank and a half or whatever the math works out to. So maybe it's 1.4. Somebody's done the math, and I'm not really great at that, so I will let them post those numbers in the comments if they feel so inclined. But what we're going to need to do, the way this is currently set up, without having some sort of crazy, weird path rerouting or whatever, we're going to have to build over the river to get stuff actually connected to power. And the way that this is set up here, it's really not going to be a super easy thing for me to do and have it look nice. So I think we're going to kind of be in a situation where we're at the mercy of whatever's going to fit, just fits wherever it can go, if that makes any sense. Also, the amount of power we're currently making is enough for what we currently have operating, not including this fermenter, not including this oil press. This needs 50 HP. This needs, well, it's not telling me, this needs another 50. So we need another 100 if we want to have just these two things running additionally. So that's going to require more compact water wheels, which, you know, we can build easily. But we're going to have to decide exactly where those can reasonably go. And that's going to cause plenty of problems for us. Unless we want to build a large power wheel, which I don't think is a bad idea. It's just the way this is set up currently is a little bit of a logistical challenge to get everything to work. So here's what I am going to propose. Like, you guys are going to have the time to actually tell me whether you like it or not before I do it. We have empty space over here. What if I put this large power wheel right here? I know we have the logs to do it, and we will almost certainly be getting more as time goes by. I say as I right click instead of left click. Put this guy here, and then put a smelter right here on the edge. Actually, hold on. Let's flip this so the doorway is on the other side. Then build ourselves a path around here, which is going to give us the option of putting in a small industrial pile here, which we can use to store some metal blocks. Currently, we have storage for scrap metal down here. We have more storage available for scrap metal here. So maybe what I should do instead is turn this, instead of scrap metal storage, turn it into metal block storage. I guess it's going to depend on how this pans out, but what's going to happen here, this makes 300 HP currently, not forever, but currently, we're only using this theoretically to power the smelter. We're not going to have 4 beavers working it. If we go to 3, I believe that means this is going to put out like 225. Should be 225, which is a little bit more than we need here. We'll figure out. We'll figure out what happens. I think it also might have something to do with the well-being, because this is technically a variant of the power wheel or whatever the bulk tills thing is. I think. No, correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember it being tied to the productivity, walking speed, whatever stat of the beavers, which is affected by the well-being. I don't think our well-being is high enough for that to matter right now, but take a look. Avery Dean here has a +10 to working speed, +5 to movement speed for being at well-being 2. Well-being tier 12, +15, but, you know, we're not there yet, and currently it's 5. Because, well, there's injury, we haven't gotten all that other stuff taken care of yet. Now, what I'm interested in knowing is why the canola hasn't been a target for harvesting yet. I mean, I guess... Yeah, actually... they haven't been harvesting the cassavas either, so I'll tell you what. Let's target cassavas here. And since we can't do anything with this yet anyway, I'm going to have both of these target harvesting cassavas. So we'll let them get to work on that, because we really want to make sure we can push as many of those through here as possible. And I guess as soon as I started talking smack about them, they did harvest one here. So that's fine. They're going to bring all this stuff in here. I know the gear situation definitely is not ideal, but, you know, it is what it is. They're going to be working eventually, maybe, on having gears available for this. It is what it is. I'm not expecting this to be up and running before the end of the drought anyway. But you know what? If we really felt like it, we could do something a little bit unconventional here. At least for our current playthrough. We could, if we felt adventurous. I know I keep trying to think about this. I just have to pause so I don't let time get away from me while I'm forcing the hamsters that run the wheel in my brain to do overtime. If we put a barracks here, then I can put a gear workshop on top of it. Of course, I don't have double platforms unlocked yet, but I can put these single platforms in. The only thing is you're going to be spending twice as much in planks to do it. But in theory, see, this takes 50 planks, which we have 83. In theory, assuming this can keep running at a reasonably fast pace for the next 1.8 days, maybe we increase the working hours, I'm going to have enough planks to build this. I'm going to have enough planks to build this. And then after that's done, come in here with a gear workshop and build that there, which is then going... Oh, this is so dumb, but hey, it would not be one of my video series without some sort of absolute shenanigans occurring here. How stupid is this? It's pretty stupid, but hey, sometimes it's fun to be stupid, right? I'm going to get in trouble now, because now this is going to be a long video. Actually, you know what? I might as well just go ahead and ask, do you guys like long videos early on in the series? Like, I know there's some of you who love the long videos, and that's fine. But some people, especially those who watch early on in a series like this, don't really want to sit through a whole hour. Let me know what you think. I'm probably going to make them long anyway, but I do want to make sure that I'm at least listening to what you guys have to say. So, all that being said, let's do it. Let's do this. Except I'm not going to start with the gear workshop. I'm just going to let them build this, so we have the ability to actually, you know, get in to someplace, and we will have access to this eventually once we build other stuff in here. But I am I'm just so curious. Let's pause the large power wheel just for right now. I like the idea. I like this. I'm just a little afraid of what it's going to turn into. Let's pause. Yeah, pause that oil press. We're not going to need it. 71% of the soybeans, 72% right there. I've got extra beavers. Yeah. I've got extra beavers. Let's come over here and get the rest of these oak trees out, because I know they can take care of that. And then that'll get us a little bit more in the way of wood here. And then we can start building the rest of this nonsense. This is so dumb. Oh, it's so dumb. I love it to bits. Scrap metal, of course, is going directly into here. I'm going to go ahead and prioritize these two lumberjack flags. Obviously, the gears are important. The planks are important. So we're just going to let these guys do what they got to do. Perimeter here obviously needs to keep running as long as it possibly can. And we're going to lose power. We do have 3 canola oil. I was actually kind of surprised. which is good because I only need 1 canola oil to make 20 fermented soybeans. So with the, let's see what I got, 6, I have 18 soybeans here. So that's actually, once all these grow, that's the perfect quantity to get us to 60 fermented soybeans. In episode 2. We've been doing some good work, folks. All right, so 6-day drought. Let's pause our pumps so we don't run out of water so our crops can keep growing. Of course, all of these are now completely dead in the water. Let's pause. Now we have plenty more beaver ability here, so let's turn this up to all 10 so they can all be employed. Deprioritize it slightly. And now, friends, now we can start getting into some shenanigans here. I know the logs are going to take 40 of those to build this barracks, but we're looking pretty good here, folks. And I'm only down 11 gears, so now I'm really curious to see if we can get this thing up and running before the end of the episode. We're going to be in such a good position if we can have metal actually being made prior to episode 3. Oh, that's going to be great. All right, so we've got 2 more of these working. They've actually made pretty quick work of some of these oak trees. That's a little concerning, but we also have these growing in, so that's looking good. I think I can stop prioritizing the cassava here. And this guy I'm going to put on planting duty just so everything can keep growing. Because again, 5 days, this water is not going to go away in 5 days. So we can, well, look at these here that are going to dry out because the water is not high. Then, yeah, okay, that's just a casualty that we should have expected. I am optimistic about our chances of actually having operational smelter by the end of the drought. How about that? How about that? 38 beavers. So now, yeah, we're looking good. We actually do need the capacity here. What we can do, now that we have ladders, I can go ahead and I can put in some ladders right here in the end. And then instead of building this platform, I can actually go ahead and build another barracks. And, you know, in the interest of actually getting this stuff done, I'll tell you what, let's pause the game, just so my thinking doesn't get outpaced by the actual progress we're making here. 2 ladders. I got enough science now. I'm going to go ahead and just unlock the double platform. We'll save ourselves a little bit of grief here. They haven't actually started building that yet. This will allow us to actually have some nice verticality here, and it's going to save us planks, because now this is a thing here. Of course, once the large barracks can get put in, I'm not going to unlock it yet, because we don't truly need this, and the science can be used for other stuff. But once these get built, if we prioritize the ladders, and then I guess... No, okay, no, you know what? No. If we're actually trying to get this complete, what needs to be prioritized first is this, and this. And then on top of that, we put the gear workshop. But of course it has to be able to be accessed first. If these can't, you know, get anybody living in them, then that's okay. We'll get there when we get there, but not going to hurt the beavers to be outside for a little bit of time. We have plenty of logs, at least for right now. This is literally just waiting on gears. So I don't need to have this finished until that's actually ready to be operated. 10 more. This is just going to be waiting on logs and planks. I'm going to go ahead and extend working hours to 18 during the droughts, just so we can get this taken care of. Somebody actually asked why I hadn't done that, and, well, the simple answer is I just hadn't done it. Not really any ulterior motive to it. But now the gear workshop can get built. And that, of course, is going to be powered off the same thing, which does mean we're going to have 4 beavers running this. But that's fine. This does take 120 HP, so it is going to be not quite 100% efficiency, but it's going to be better than nothing. So we'll get that going. And yeah, I'll go ahead and prioritize the gear workshop. End this thing, and then I guess we'll see what happens here. Okay, these trees have been cut down. There's some dead ones over here. That's looking fine. Hopefully, if we don't pump any water out of this, then the clean water will shove the bad water away before it kills anything else over here. I think we're looking pretty good. We've got 600 some science. Wait, is there actually a space for a mine on this map? I didn't bother to check. Okay, there's one. One in the corner. All right, we'll probably use that at some point. But now, friends, now we're looking pretty good. We're going to have our fermented soybeans able to be, well, fermented just as soon as the water comes back. This is great. This is great. We've made so much good progress. I am quite pleased. So now, all right, we got 1.9 days. We got 1.9 days. Can I make 11 gears in 1.9 days? The answer is probably no. In fact, the answer is definitely no. But we're going to be really close. Really close. All right, make these gears, folks. Prioritized by haulers. We know we can do that. Planks are already in stock. The gears are going to be taken out, taken to storage, and then the builders will do whatever they want to do with those. But hey, we're making it work. We're making it work. If I really want to be punishing these guys, I know we can get it done. We can do 20-hour work days. Hey, you know what the Iron Teeth motto is, right? Work hard, work hard. It's so important they said it twice. So guess what, bucko? You're working hard. We're gonna get it done, man. We're gonna get it done. Up to 12 gears in here. We have one in storage, which means we're gonna have 13, which means they only need to make 7 today. And then I know it's a 3-hour cycle to get this done, so it's gonna be really close. But when it comes down to it, we're gonna be ready. Even if it's partway through day 1 of cycle 5, we're gonna have this thing up and running before the end of the episode. And boy, let me tell you, I don't think I've ever had metal technically up and running at the end of an episode 2. Now, granted, my early episodes normally aren't over an hour long, but, you know, I'll take it. You take the wins as you can get them. Best thing you can do. All right, 14, 15. We're getting there. We're getting there. It's going to be just shy of it. Just shy. But, man, we're getting so much good stuff done today, man. I'm feeling really good about this series. 16 out of 20. All right, not quite there. Not quite, but now it says 17. So, you know what that means. You know what that means, kids. It's cycle 5. The drought's over. We still have plenty of water, plenty of food, even though this process over here being paused has not really done us any favors. We are in such a good spot, man. 18 gears, about to be 19, about to be 20. We're looking good. We are looking real good. And these are about to be turning. Let's turn on here and here first. And yeah, we'll get this whole thing rocking and rolling as soon as these as soon as these soybeans are all taken care of. Then I'm just going to turn this thing back off. But look. All right, I'll take it back to 18 hours. We're making metal. We're making metal blocks at the end of episode 2. Oh, I love to see it. Absolutely love to see it. So, folks, that's going to be the end of this episode here. I really appreciate the support. Bunch of people watching episode 1 of this series, which is always fantastic to see. So thank you for watching. Thank you, Beard Boosters, for supporting the channel. Thank you, Mechanistry, for sponsoring this video and 5-episode series here. Really appreciate the support from everybody. It truly is not possible to make these videos happen without all of your support. So you are all super important. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad we're able to spend this time together, and I'm so excited to see what else we can get accomplished in the next 3 episodes here before we decide if we're going to continue this save or start another one in a different series or whatever. I think I'm probably going to want to keep going on this because we're going to get a whole lot of good stuff done. But now that we have metal, Now that we have metal, that's an absolute game changer. We have almost 1,000 science. We can really get into some cool stuff now. Really get into some cool stuff. Like we have all of these like overhangs, and of course now the suspension bridges don't take metal anymore. But now that we've got metal, we can get into bad water, which means we can come up here and we can start making explosives and we can start doing irrigation. And man, there's so much cool stuff to get into. But that is truly all the time we have for this one. Whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we will see you back again tomorrow for episode 3. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.